I think the take home for me would be about the dung beetles. We're talking about something that is at the very base level of what we're doing on a daily basis, farming, and we're not even thinking about it.
We are a farm on a hill which is around 200 acres, which is a mix of pasture and woodland. We've got a mix of livestock on the farm, so we've got Shetland cattle, we've got our main sheep breed is Hebrideans, but we also have some Shropshire sheep. So we're trying to really operate under a low or no input system. We are still early on our journey, so we only started really scaling the farming operation 2 years ago, so we're still learning.
Biodiversity in farming is really important. So it's really important for the soil health, but it's also really, really important for me, livestock health, and then also human health at the end of that food chain. So the livestock bit is obviously the bit where I come in as a vet, and I think the bits that are really important is the fact that we just have that diversity within the sward itself. Obviously, dung beetles are basically nature's own parasite control. Unfortunately, in a lot of our conventional systems, what we're doing is we're using a lot of inputs in terms of things like chemical parasite control products, things like fly treatments and wormers, and ultimately they affect badly our dung beetles basically. So by trying to get farmers to use less wormers and get off that chemical control treadmill and increase the numbers of dung beetles and other really cool insects that you find within a dung pat, then effectively you can also reduce the need for those over time. So rotational grazing basically means that we're leaving long rest periods between times that cattle are actually eating that grass. When we allow the grass to grow longer, it means that our parasites, basically, most of our parasites are found in the bottom 5 centimetres of the sward. So if we're growing longer grasses and our animals are actually eating the top layer, they're going to have less access to parasites that are down at the bottom of the pasture. The diversity in the sward itself is really, really important. So the more sort of natural, wildflowery sort of style meadows that we have, as opposed to just a straight ryegrass clover system, it actually means the parasites can't climb the grass stalks. But those really long rest periods between also give more chance basically for the parasites that are on the pasture to sort of desiccate and die. So the longer you can leave between grazing periods, the better for your livestock health as well. And also for the dung beetles and also for the soil. So your biomass above the ground is effectively the same as what's below the ground. So if you have very, very short grass, you're going to have very, very short roots. The more aeration we have in the soil, the easier it makes for dung beetles to be able to penetrate into that soil and dive down and aerate it even further. And all of those bugs and biology in the soil to work really well together.
So in terms of the cattle, we're so far this year with no input, so we're now moving them on a weekly basis, trying to get it down to daily, along with the sheep. And so with the cows to date this year, we've had 0 wormers or flucicides or anything, and then we're regularly testing them. In terms of the sheep, we've made it now that our ewes are not needing to be wormed because we're moving them quite regularly. We do mob grazing together with them all together, so we have our flood up the hill. At the moment we're moving them weekly. The goal is to get to daily.
It's been great to work collaboratively with NFFN today and work with Guardswell Farm as well, and it's really useful. Just coming together with other farmers and producers and people through the supply chain is really, really valuable.
To look at the cow poo out on the hill and see it's full of dung beetles, and obviously the insects that's going to support and is hopefully going to bring back wading birds that we've been lacking in for quite a long time.
I do think that we graze animals just in big square fields, and it's time we realised that they need other things to forage on.
If the animal's looking healthy and your weights are fine, like it's just reiterating the point that you don't have to worm if you see worms. It has to be at a certain threshold. So just having and being encouraged by someone who's an expert that is okay and to not be worried about that.
From a nature-friendly farming perspective, it's been brilliant to come to Guardswell and see what Anna and Digby are doing and showcase what nature-friendly farming looks like in practice.
I've learned so much today about dung beetles, and I'm sure there's a whole lot more we could be doing, and that is going to improve our whole farming system.
We've seen a live example of what taking a holistic approach to your system looks like in practice and what that journey looks like going from the starting point and what they're aiming for here as well with mixed livestock grazing and kind of rotational grazing.
The enthusiasm is so positive, But also I realised that what I thought were dung beetles are not dung beetles. They're predatory beetles, so I have to go back and look at poo again on the farm.